All right, last thing. It's Easter, and we have our new album dropping in a couple weeks. Old Church Basement with Elevation Worship. It is going to be crazy. The people are not ready. Let's talk about this really fast. I know we wrote a song called Old Church Basement, which kind of came with the theme of the album, just the nostalgic feel of, what this album represented for us, just in all the writing sessions. When we first started writing Gyra, which you've hopefully heard. If you haven't, go listen to it. But it just created this feeling of like, we're back in our own small little churches before worship leading was a big career industry.
Right.
We were just enjoying Jesus and like learning how to play guitar and stuff. So what does Old Church Basement mean for you? Because you have a cool part in one of our songs that you wrote and brought.
Well, when we were writing that song, Pastor Stephen started asking, who was like your old, youth worship leader? And we started going around sharing names, and mine was Josh Ray. And
mine was Donald. Me and Dante had weird names, so we had to just go with Brandon.
Black Church.
Yeah, it could have been Earl.
It could have been Earl.
Derek,
it could have been DJ.
Darius bought a cheap guitar, barely knew how to play. So we wrote in the line, Josh bought a cheap guitar, barely knew how to play it. He wasn't well known, wasn't trying to get known, he wasn't famous, But we sure touched heaven in that old church basement. That's my favorite line, because I think for me, the old church basement, whether it's a literal basement or not, but where I first learned who he was and how to encounter this living God, it was in this small room where no one really knew how to play, but we were hungry and curious, and heaven met us there in that room, and some of the most powerful times in worship were still when I was young, and heaven encountered that room in an unexplainable way.
Yeah, I think what was cool is when this album kind of like we thought about it, or it came an idea in Pastor Furtick, was we were in a basement of a house.
How many hours, Chan?
10. Pastor Furtick, we were in that room for 10 hours.
10 hours.
With a 27-minute break.
Yes, 27.
10 hours. 10 hours. But no,
10 hours.
It was worth it. We came with Gyra. We started writing with Gyra. But I think for me, Old Church Basement and just the idea of before all of this was a thing. And I remember in my dad's church watching these worship leaders that I love today. Shout out Chelsea, DJ, Mike, all of y'all. Leading worship, and for me, that I still grab onto it, the presence of God, but also how to navigate. Like, these people would go, y'all think I flow? Like, these people would go from song to song, and like the glory of the Lord, and that's regular in a lot of churches. Like, churches where we're from, that's just like, if you don't, like, actually, we probably don't rehearse. They probably, like, we just get up there and just sit, but navigating the atmosphere of God and learning how to honor that. When I think about Old Church Basement, just this album and the songs, it like took me back to that. Like, man, like the presence of God is something that requires like familiar. Like, you need to be familiar. Like, you have to spend time with it at home to know how to do it in public. So that's kind of what it brought me back.